This week on Here for the Right Reasons, we get our first look at Katie Thurston as the Bachelorette as we reveal how Tayshia and Kaitlyn are doing, stepping in as hosts.
I don't regret being myself. I know what I deserve.
Cassie Randolph breaks her silence on her ex Colton Underwood coming out as gay.
Regarding the topic in the media that brought my name up this week, just wanted to let you know that I'm not going to be further discussing it or commenting on it.
What is going on with Matt and Rachael? We break it all down as Becca Kufrin sends ex-Blake Hortsmann a birthday message.
I think it's interesting that me and Becca have a great relationship. I think that is a little strange, from past seasons. Me and Becca have a great relationship. We talk, we're friends.
And which Bachelor Nation couple are already making connections before paradise? Well, Jade Roper reveals how things have changed since she found love on the show.
We were discouraged to meet each other or talk to each other before we went on the show because they wanted the on-screen time to be like the first time anybody met and they could see that. But nowadays everyone hangs out with each other.
We've got that plus so much more on today's Here for the Right Reasons. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with Us Weekly Associate Editor Sarah Heron. Sarah, another week, another Bachelor news.
I mean, I guess Matt and Rachael are the new Claire and Dale. We're going to have to see photos of them out every other week. I mean, so much to unpack as always.
So much to unpack as always. But before we get to Matt and Rachael, let's break it all down in our bracket of roses because we got to see Katie in action.
I don't regret being myself. I know what I deserve.
I'm not gonna sit here and let mean girls be mean girls.
I never want to stop pursuing love. I am who I am, and I want to meet someone who knows who they are. My person's still out there.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just not getting excited about this season. I'm going to be honest. I'm just not getting excited about this season. And I see I'm not the only one. I was looking at comments and things, seems like things are pretty mixed. I mean, obviously we have to give her a chance and I'm sure she'll be great, but I'm just not pumped up for it, I guess. I don't know why.
I think for me, a lot of it comes from the narrative, every Bachelor or Bachelorette, the lead, they get a story, right? And it's like, you're unlovable. You have never been in love. You are insecure about this or that. They all have a theme. And it seems that Katie's theme that they're going with, this whole be a Katie, girl power moment, while I normally would love that. And I think Katie is great to some, she's great. But I think that all of that happened so long ago. We watched Katie get in the middle of the drama and kind of, we were all rooting for her. She diffused it. I thought she did a great job. But the girls also didn't really respect her for it either. So it's it was very much side. So it's weird to me that it feels like the whole show is hating on everyone else who was on the season. If you're supposed to be a Katie, that means, okay, everybody else was wrong, which is right in some degree, but kind of weird for the show to come out and say be a Katie because the other women didn't necessarily all love Katie. They were upset with her at Women Tell All. And I just think it's a weird narrative to care about again now. We were over Matt's season. The drama is done and it wasn't life-changing, I feel like. So why is that the theme of the next season? Right.
It seems like it's kind of a reach, like you said, and it's been so long since we've seen her and you make a really good point about how the girls felt like she was just trying to kind of stir up trouble in the house. So it didn't really seem like everybody was Team Katie. So why then should we be Team Katie? But, and it's like you said, we always get a Bachelorette who kind of got her heart broken or, was a runner-up and then, got dumped or things like that. So it's we want to root for them to find love. I'm just rooting for her to be a good person, I guess. I'm just not rooting for her to kind of find her husband. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that I think we both want to get behind this girl power movement. Yeah. That's awesome, especially after the last couple of seasons that it's been so catty and I think people are over that. So maybe that's what they're trying to lean into. Right. But instead I think it's a weird tone to set because by having to love Katie means we're supposed to now really be against anyone else who was on the season. And they, the clips they showed of her and Matt, I never really saw the emotional connection with them. So it's hard for them to lean into that too. But I mean, I also think it's great since we know we're going to have Kaitlyn and Tayshia, that maybe that's why we're getting the whole thing. Cause it's the women taking back the Bachelorette. That's true. That is true. And I am very excited about Kaitlyn and Tayshia. I think that they're going to be great. They're stepping in as co-hosts for Chris Harrison. And we kind of got some inside information about how they are doing. Right. So we've heard that it was a little bit maybe of a rocky transition in the beginning because everything was very last minute, which makes sense since we didn't know before they were leaving to film if Chris was going to be there or not after he missed after the final rose. And, you know, it's classic. Chris has been doing this job for 20 years. It was very smooth sailing. I don't think he ever probably needed a redo to say this is the final roast tonight. And obviously with Kaitlyn and Tayshia, it's a learning curve. So we've definitely heard that, and that the crew, you know, it was a big adjustment for everyone. And I guess Chris Harrison has a bigger presence on the set than maybe someone who just watches the show would realize. But at the same time, we heard from several sources that, you know, Tayshia and Kaitlyn are great and showed up on time and, you know, were willing to step in a weird situation. And ABC and our sources have all been very, you know, it's kind of this like ominous thing. Like they're not the hosts, but they're the host. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From everything
they're
you're
like
reading?
they're like supposed to be like mentors, like BFFs with Katie, but also doing all of Chris Harrison's jobs. So
there is no host, so obviously that's where they're going to fall into that. But it seems like maybe it'll be like more like girl chat, girl time, which I think is great. But it's also weird that we've heard not only from ABC but also from sources that this is like a big thing that they wanted to say to Tayshia and Kaitlyn and to everyone. They're not replacing him. It's just like a new turn on, a new like twist.
It is very interesting that they're being very selective with their wording.
Exactly. I mean, classic, right? But we know that their filming is wrapped.
Yes, filming is done. So Katie may or may not have found the one. We saw like Instagram stories of Kaitlyn flying home. She has been reunited with her dogs and Jason, so she's very excited about that. But it also seemed like Kaitlyn and Tayshia like got along really well too. On like the little bit of Instagrams that they have posted, they went horseback riding together. They posted a fun little dancing video together. So it seemed like they really got along. So I am really excited to see that. And you know, filming's wrapped. We, you know, the show premieres at the end of May. Beginning of June. I
believe they wrapped a little early. I know that resort was technically off limits to guests until late into next week. So I think they might have wrapped a little early, which is interesting. And yeah, I mean, with Kaitlyn and Tayshia also, they've been like super silly and funny on Instagram, but they've also both posted about like anxiety and missing Zach or Jason, whoever, which makes sense. So I almost feel like this is a tale's oldest time. Like I want to know what we're not going to see. Like I want to know what was going down. Like what were they really thinking about the guys? And like if they're, hopefully we do see a lot of chats with them and Katie talking about, you know, how their own relationships played off. Like I'd love to hear Kaitlyn like share insight about how her relationship with Sean worked after the show and didn't work. And Tayshia and Zach are obviously still together trying to plan a wedding. Like I think that would be really valuable information for Katie and then like good for us because we want to know like the tea. You know?
Give me all the tea. Give it to me. Well, I know that we recently caught up with Zach, Tayshia's fiance, who revealed how Tayshia was feeling about her hosting duties. Take a look. Was she nervous going into it though? I know you can't say too much about how it's going. Obviously you don't want to spoil anything, but was she nervous going into?
I think when people are given, you know, big opportunities in life, there's always going to be nerves, right? No matter what that is. I mean, like, I don't know, Tom Brady, you know, has won 7 Super Bowls. If he's, you know, playing in it to win his 8th next year, he's still going to be nervous. This stuff doesn't, like, I don't think you get used to, you know, all these eyeballs being on you. So, you know, for me, it's just important to know that she's loved and supported no matter what she's doing.
So while many in Bachelor Nation have been showing their support for Colton Underwood, obviously we talked about this. This was a huge story last week after he came out as gay. Everyone was wondering what Cassie Randolph was going to have to say about this. She did kind of speak out on Instagram, but this week she went on YouTube to kind of voice her opinion on it. So take a look.
There's a lot of layers to it, and I just feel like the best thing for me at this time is to move forward and just focus on going forward. So if I do decide in the future to say anything or make a comment at all, you guys will be the first to know. But for now, I just wanted to say thank you for all the kind messages and comments and DMs. And although I can't respond to all of you guys, I want you to know that I read them, and I'm so thankful, and I feel very loved and supported, and I appreciate you guys so much.
So, I mean, she didn't really say much. She just said that she's kind of moving forward and appreciates everybody's response. But, you know, like we said last week, I don't know if she really owes us more than this.
Yeah, I mean, Cassie's taking the high road, which is incredible and says a lot about her.
Yeah.
Personally, if my ex-boyfriend who I had a restraining order against and some harassment and some very serious allegations. We were on a reality TV show together. They also fought about like a million other things on Instagram, came out as gay. I don't know if I would have taken the high road and been so nice, but good for her.
Good for her. And we know that he is doing this Netflix documentary. I mean, do you think there's any chance that she'll be a part of this?
Oh man, I don't think so. If she is, that would say maybe a lot they're saving stuff. I mean, I wouldn't blame her no matter what she does. I think that Cassie has been through a very weird whirlwind, traumatic wave of emotions with everything that happened according to those court documents. We obviously know it's been dropped. From everything we know, they have no communication, and she probably just wants to move on. And it's probably bizarre to see her name in the headlines again and everyone talking about her. But at the same time, I mean, this is Bachelor Nation. This is the risk you kind of take by going on the show. The world follows you, I feel like, throughout everything. And she has this huge following on her YouTube. So I totally understand why she pivoted to that and kind of wanted everyone to be like, if you care about me at all, otherwise look at what I'm doing. And I respect that. But I also think she's going to have to know, like, any Q&A she asks for questions or any sort of interaction she has with fans, like, I feel like this is going to come up until she maybe does say something more.
That's so true. I mean, like, her name is forever going to be tied with Colton, I think, until she kind of addresses this and puts this to bed and, kind of, like she said, moves on. And unfortunately, she's kind of pinned into a corner and doesn't really have a choice. But as for right now, she said if she's going to comment further, she will do so probably on her YouTube channel. Don't think it's going to be in the documentary, but maybe it would be in paradise.
Wow, that would be something. I mean, if she wants to sort of, get back out there, that could be a fun way. But I don't know. Do you think she'd ever do it?
I don't think so. I don't think that she really enjoyed it the first time around. I think, remember, like, her family was kind of against it. Her dad came and said, like, why are you here and what are you doing? And that's kind of maybe one of the reasons why she left. I don't think the Bachelor world is for her anymore. I don't think so. I don't think that she would find love on there anymore.
I don't think so either, at least maybe not this time around, but you never know. Sometimes down the line, people surprise you who decide to come back. And when Ben Higgins did Bachelor Winter Games, I was like, oh, like, every once in a while, someone throws you for a loop. But we do have some potential drama, relationships brewing behind the scenes in Paradise. I mean, this is always my favorite, seeing who is going to be spotted out together. And I feel like more so than ever, the Bachelor Nation can't stay home and they can't stop giving us potential couples. I mean, we have to talk about Bennett and everyone.
I mean, Bennett is trying really hard to lock down Kelley Flanagan.
Yeah, I mean, and he's open about that. And he posted that flirty video dancing to Mariah Carey, which I think we talked about. He said on Ben and Ashley's podcast that he actually had her permission to do that because he wasn't trying to, I guess, come on too strong. Right. But then he also kind of blew up her spot and said she was dating someone in Florida.
Right.
So I'm kind of confused by what his end goal is.
I'm so confused about what he's doing. He also said that Peter Weber gave him permission to date Kelley, which is also weird. There's
a huge group of Bachelor people, a lot of guys and a lot of girls from Matt's season that all live in New York. So I feel like Nashville used to be the hot spot where they'd all hang out, and now it's New York, which is really interesting. And yeah, Bennett said he talked to Peter about it, and I'm not surprised Peter was just like, go for it, because I feel like he knows what it's like to be in Bachelor Nation, and I think him and Kelley, that ship has sailed, so I'm sure he's just like, whatever, I want her to be happy. But then Bennett was spotted out with Kit, so
right. And he said, well, I think he's 36, 37 years old. She's like 21. So he said that the age difference was a bit too much, even though she's very mature for her age. He just didn't think that was going to work, but he's really making the rounds. He's going to be the star of Paradise.
I'm so confused about his end goal though, because if he wants to date Kelley so badly, which is what he's claiming, why would they go to Paradise to date? Why wouldn't they date somewhere else? And if she's potentially seeing someone else, and she has kind of said that on Kaitlyn Bristol's podcast too, it's weird that he was trying to downplay it on her behalf and say it's not serious because she's moving to the city. Like, what if she hasn't told that guy that yet?
Seriously.
And even if Kelley gets out of the equation and he gets to Paradise, I would be like, remember that time you said you only cared about dating Kelley? Why do I want to date you? Or if I'm Kit, I'd be like, well, what was that whole thing? I don't know. I just feel like he's setting himself up for disaster.
He is digging himself a very big hole. He is going to be the new Blake of this season, and it's going to blow up in his face. Sorry, Bennett.
He'll thrive in it, though, because he is quite a character. But then we had Heather, who knows if Heather Martin's going to show up in Paradise, because obviously she had a very rocky almost return on Matt's season that didn't totally go as planned. And she was spotted out with Ivan from Tayshia and Claire's season, but we've heard from sources that it was like a group hangout and nothing big to report there.
I cannot wait for Paradise. Paradise is my favorite thing ever. It's so good. But like we said, making love connections before you head to Paradise is much different than how things used to be. And I know you caught up with Jade Roper, who found love with her husband, Tanner Tolbert, during season 2 of the show. And she discussed the dramatic changes that have happened since then. Take a look.
Just like The Bachelor's changed, Bachelor in Paradise has changed. But what would you tell, the people going into filming it now? What would your advice be?
Oh, it's changed so much.
Yeah, it has.
Because we were discouraged to meet each other or talk to each other before we went on the show, because they wanted the on-screen time to be like the first time anybody like met and they could see that. But nowadays everyone hangs out with each other and talks, and so it's so different. But I loved Paradise because of the quality time you got with people. And I knew I spent more time with Tanner in 2 days than I did with Chris Soules, so 7 weeks, So I would just say, enjoy it and have, the good conversations, because you get that time.
Yeah, it's definitely not like it used to be.
I mean, it's truly wild thinking back to those old seasons when people would just get ripped apart for sending DMs before. And now it's like, if you didn't, I've talked to people who, I think it was Sydney on from Colton season, she was like, I followed the rules and that backfired.
Right.
No one else did. So I get you want the Jade and Tanner love story meeting and getting to watch that unfold was great. I just don't think it's realistic anymore.
No, we want the drama. We want to know if people hooked up beforehand and now they're making new love connections. They're coming in with some fire into that. And, we don't have to wait for weeks and weeks and weeks for the drama to unfold. It's already there first episode. So,
can't wait.
Oh man. All right. Well, let's move on to our cringe of the week. And that goes to Matt James and Rachael Kirkconnell. I mean, come on.
I mean, 1 minute they're walking the streets of New York City. The next minute there's a girl on Instagram Live claiming to know all this tea about Matt and being like, I'm Team Rachael and we've talked. Now they're on the West Coast, spotted out together. So, I mean, let's just talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Yeah. Like you said, that they were first spotted out in New York earlier this month. Then that girl came forward. We got word that they were not in communication at all. They were not speaking to each other because Rachael was kind of blindsided that he was lying to her. And now they're back together. I don't know. They're trying to work. Who knows if they're trying to work things out or not?
I know. I mean, my gut tells me that I think, because we do know that they're, from everything we've heard at least, because obviously neither of them have spoken on the record, and everything we heard from sources was that, Rachael was definitely thought they were getting back together on the right track. After the final rose, they were in communication. They were just trying to figure out if they could work this out privately, which I understand because there was obviously a lot of stuff surrounding them, headlines, and it was very serious topics. So then I think Matt was, maybe talking to other girls because he was single and had every right to, but Rachael was thrown off by that because she thought they were legit getting back together. Then it blew up when she found out how seriously he was talking to other people, and she kind of left his apartment in New York City. We saw her out with all those girls. We thought that was going to be it. And then, he was in Atlanta for that fight, but we heard they didn't see each other, but maybe she reached out. We don't know, or he reached out to her. And now other outlets are reporting that they're not back together, but he reached out and didn't like the way things ended and wanted to, see how it was going to go again. And she reluctantly agreed. I mean, we'll never know until one of them really finally tells us. But I just feel like this is not a good idea.
No, this is not going to end well. Like you said at the top of the show, this is the new Claire and Dale. We have no idea what's going on between them. Things did not end the best way. I mean, after the final rose, I was under the assumption that Matt was never going to talk to Rachael ever again. Yeah. So the fact that they were hanging out to begin with kind of shocked me. But yeah, so we have no idea if they're getting back together or not. Maybe he's just trying to kind of smooth things over since maybe he got caught up in a little bit of web of lies. But she seems to, she really cared for him. I think we all kind of agreed on that after the show, after the final rose aired. So maybe she just wants to kind of hear him out. But I feel like that could have been a phone conversation.
I know. And it's like, I totally get, like, I know that the people can say what they want, but they were out in public in their, like, the people are going to see the photos. And
Right.
I'm not saying that that's necessarily right, but like for them to think, like, if they really, really, really were worried about people seeing them, they would have these conversations on the phone. They would, you know, hide happy couple style, like during the show. Like it doesn't make sense for them to be out and about and not thinking people are going to identify them. Like that's,
Totally.
He's like super tall and like he has a huge beard. Like we all know what they look like. And I will say, I mean, I've been very hard on Claire and Dale since their season aired, but especially after this back and forth. But when he started making his press rounds, he's been very tight-lipped on whatever is going on. So you got to give it to them. And I know Matt and Rachel have done the same, but it's going to be like time will tell now if it's, I don't know. I feel like both of those relationships aren't going to end well, but now I'm more towards thinking Claire and Dale might have the better chance.
Seriously, who knew that things would work out between them? But like, I do appreciate that they're keeping things kind of low key until they figure it out. And maybe that's what Matt and Rachel are doing. But like you said, they could have hid, they could have met up secretly, not so public about it. But
at least we're not getting like photos where you can hear them in the background. Like when Claire was posting,
drives me crazy.
Dale's voice. That was like, I was like, I don't feel like I have to give you my privacy if you're gonna tease me with your foot at a pedicure place. Sorry. So there you go.
There you go. All right. Well, moving on to our Where Are They Now segment. And ever since Becca Kufrin and Garrett ended their engagement, fans have been hoping for a reconciliation between she and runner-up Blake Hortsmann.
That's right. And Becca, you know, gave them a little bit of what they wanted on Blake's birthday. She said, "Happy birthday at Balake. To celebrate, I'd like to share an embarrassing photo of when we were babies. At this moment, I'm virtually shoving cake in your face."
All right. So what is going on between them? Well, I know, Sarah, you recently caught up with Blake, who talked about their kind of relationship status. Take a look.
I think it's interesting that me and Becca have a great relationship. I think that is a little strange, from past seasons. Me and Becca have a great relationship. We talk, we're friends. And so I think maybe that was one of it. And also the way her and Garrett ended, I think people just want to see me and Becca happy, which is a compliment. Like it means a lot. It really, really does. But yeah, I mean, we're close friends and everything. And we're like always gonna have each other's back and care for each other. But I don't know why everybody was shipping us so hard, or it still is shipping us pretty hard.
That was a quick turnaround too. I feel like people were like, oh, okay. And the same thing kind of happened with Hannah Brown, but at least it made more sense because like the Jed thing happened, like it was within minutes with the Tyler thing. But I feel like still people, they are both in relationships and Bachelor Nation can't let it go. So it must be a weird thing to, especially if you ever are dating someone, for them to know that there's like people out there shipping you with someone else.
Yeah, that's just, it's very hard, and it's very hard to like, yeah. Let's just say it can be hard on if you're dating somebody and even super casual, like it's like, yeah, they're like super confused, and you try to explain to them, it's hard, super hard.
I always really like them together. I would love to see, I mean, like, even though it's been 3+ years, I would love to see them get back together.
I know, it was funny because I went back before I talked to Blake and like watched their breakup scene, and he was really crying very hard and devastated about it. And it's so crazy because so much time has passed, and I'm sure they still have that chemistry and that flirty thing. And it must be so weird to have so many people like tagging you and stuff and like DMing you like, oh, Becca's single now, like go for it. Like, it's a little strange because like she didn't pick him a long time ago and had a full relationship with this other guy, and like who knows if those feelings are still there, but that's what Bachelor Nation does, and sometimes I feel like they get what they want. So maybe, but I don't know.
He said that they talk all the time, they're really good friends, but who knows? I mean, she's single, he's single. Maybe they'll both be on Paradise. Who knows?
Oh, that I could get behind for sure.
That I could totally get behind. All right. Well, Sarah, thank you for running down all things Bachelor with me as always. So who do you got for this week's podcast?
This week we are going a little bit deeper into the Katie promo and everything we've heard on the season, and also catching up with that neurologist about how The Bachelor works. So yeah.
I can't wait to hear it. All right. Well, for much more on The Bachelor, make sure you head on over to usmagazine.com. Keep commenting, keep subscribing, and check out Here for the Right Reasons on Us Weekly's YouTube channel every Tuesday afternoon. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.